Make sure to like, subscribe, and tap the bell icon so you know when the next video comes out. Welcome to Belgium, welcome to Brussels on this incredibly short 48 hours, 2-day weekend. And before I go into Belgium, I will start with where I am right now, which is the heart of Brussels. It's the central square of Brussels, known as Grand Place in English, otherwise Groot Market in Dutch, and I forgot what the name is in French. Now, why Dutch, you ask? Well, it's pretty straightforward. Well, not straightforward. Belgium has two official languages. It's a country that's sandwiched between France, Luxembourg, and the Netherlands. I want to say there's Germany as well, but yes, please don't call out my geography. And we start here in the Grand Place, which is this massive central square that finished construction mostly in 1695. And it's surrounded by opulent Baroque guild halls that used to contain the guilds of Brussels, and also flanked on either side, if I can. Behind me there is what used to be the King's House, as it's so called, and now is home to the Brussels City Museum. And if I can turn around, if this gimbal allows me, behind me we have what is now the Brussels City Hall in all of its glory. And Belgium as a whole is home to 11.5 million people roughly. And in this journey we're going to Bruges, Ghent, and of course Brussels. 3 in 1, 3 in 48 hours. I'm not really sure if I'll be able to do this all justice. And yes, I am going to walk around the Grand Place. It is truly stunning and extraordinary. Like I said, it finished construction 1695. And one thing to know about Brussels, by the way, is, if I can get this, it's incredibly diverse. Like, that's what I mean. I knew it would be. Obviously, many countries have a colonial history. Belgium is no different. Most famously, you had the Congolese colony, which is mired in absolute dark history. Obviously, it was previously a private property of King Leopold II until it was officially annexed by the Belgian state and was the site of horrific massacres, starvation, slavery, and exploitation. And as part of that, of course, there's been so much immigration to Brussels. In fact, Brussels, from the stats, it's estimated that it's nearly 20% Muslim here. The majority of those immigrants are from Morocco. Actually, Morocco and Moroccans are the largest non-European immigrants here in Brussels. And much like the rest of Europe, many of these sort of immigrants came in the 60s and 70s as a result of labor shortages here in Europe, and the UK is no different. So let's do this. Can't be in Belgium and not address the elephant in the room, and that is, of course, Belgian chocolate. Now, when it comes to chocolate, of course, Belgium and Switzerland are synonymous with it, but Switzerland, of course, is more known for milk chocolate, whereas Belgium is known for dark chocolate and praline. And for those who don't know, I feel like that's my phrase now, praline is effectively chocolate on the outside, the hard chocolate that we all know, but with a soft chocolate filling. So that could be anything. Typically it's nuts, so for example a hazelnut chocolate filling, and so you get that double texture sort of taste. And it's surprising that no one really thought of it, and so before that everyone just had hard chocolate, you know. Chocolate on its own has an incredibly rich history. It's said that cocoa beans consumed either as hot chocolate or something has been consumed for thousands of years. And obviously, as you'd imagine, cocoa beans are not native to this part of the world. They're originally from the Americas, specifically the Latin American, Central American countries, Mexico, Venezuela, Peru, that sort. Whilst you're here, you may as well visit the Choco Story, the chocolate museum, right? The chocolate museum is really somewhere you can learn the history and process in which the cocoa beans were first manufactured, and the journey, and then how they ended up here in Belgium, and how Belgium became one of the most famous exporters of chocolate, and how it's such an integral part of their culture and their society. There's chocolate everywhere, obviously, all over the city, all over the country, but today we are going to try 3 chocolatiers. We're going to try Neuhaus. If you remember, I was talking about pralines. Praline was invented by Jean Neuhaus. So Neuhaus invented the praline. That's number 1. We're going to try Portcart, and we're going to try Pierre Marcoloni. Oh, I don't want to butcher that. But yeah, we're going to try those three. Now, there's also Godiva, which is obviously very famous Belgian chocolate. But there's a reason why I want to avoid it. Godiva is readily available everywhere, and I don't really want to try something that I can easily get in London, you know? So let's do that. Get this chocolate tasting underway. So let's start with Newhouse first. We have this sort of hazelnut praline. You can see the cross section in that. You can tell the difference between a Cadbury and one of these. And these don't come cheap either. These are not like £1, £2 that you're gonna find in the shop. Oh my God. Wow. The thing I hate about luxury chocolate or high quality food in general is that it ends after one bite. Like whenever you go into a restaurant, right, and you have something expensive like a Michelin star, the steak is always this big. You ever notice that? It's literally over in 2-3 bites. And why? It's just so irresistible. All in all, I had a grand total of 10 chocolates. I really do not recommend having a heavy breakfast before this because you will be absolutely stuffed. All in all, I had pistachio, caramel, almond, hazelnut, raspberry, all kinds of chocolate. I think this deserves a jug of water and for us to move on to whatever is next. I had absolutely no intention of visiting this attraction, but as I was walking down to Grand Place, I bumped into it, and that is the mannequin pit. And the mannequin pit, I don't know what to tell you. It's literally, now you have statues and you have water fountains, and it's normal you might see one of a fish or something where the water comes out of the fish's mouth. But in this case, you have a little boy, and as you can tell by the name Mannequin Piss, he's urinating. Well, not literally urinating, but he's, well, the water's coming from down there, right? And it's a water fountain of him. I don't know what to say. I am gonna show it in this vlog, but I'm gonna censor it for my own moral reasons because it is very morally inappropriate for me to be here. But that's what it is. It's literally a little boy urinating. And it's many centuries old. It is a very famous attraction. To be honest, I don't know. There is a legend that there was a 2-year-old duke who was taken to a battle, and he was kept in safety on top of a tree. And when enemy battalions were racing past the tree, he stood up and urinated on them. Hence, it's commemorating that story. So here we're at the Mont d'Art, which is a combination of a public square behind me, which has a really nice garden for you to sort of chill and relax at. And also there's a big building with an observation area in order for you to view the city of Brussels. Unfortunately, I don't have time to do that, but if you do, feel free to do so. Otherwise, feel free to relax and chill here at this garden and take in everything there is to take in, including the bells that are ringing, and yeah, get to know everybody around you. There's a lot of nice people just to pick up conversations with. I was just talking to a musician. It's so random. Normally you'd walk past them if they're just asking for money. And I started talking to him, and he was telling me, oh, you're from India? I was like, yeah. And he was telling me how he had an interest in Qawwali. And for those who don't know, Qawwali is like mainly a Sufi-inspired type of religious devotional music. And obviously, from our own perspective, there are mixed opinions on whether that's okay or not. So, based upon that, you know, we had an interesting conversation. He was telling me about the artist or someone that he likes. Obviously, Nusrat would stand out among them. Yeah, it was just so unexpected. I feel like I've had a lot of these unexpected interactions with people here. Really, really wholesome though in the end. Trip to Belgium is complete without having Belgian waffles or Belgian fries. For Belgian fries, I strongly recommend Friterie Tabora, where they make the fries from scratch, right from cutting the potato in front of you. I had it with this nice and spicy Andalus sauce. So we now come to probably the number 1 or number 2 of the most famous attractions here in Brussels, and that is actually no, I don't know how to pronounce it. It's spelled as Atomium, Atomium, well, it's not Atomium, is it? So basically it's between this and the Grand Place that I would say is the number 1 and number 2 most famous attractions in Brussels. It's 102 meters high as a structure. It consists of 9 balls or spheres with a diameter of 18 meters. Yes, I memorized that. And on top of that, it was built for the 1958 World Fair that was held in Brussels. Now, The World Fair, of course, is a world exhibition that takes place every few years where the countries of the world come to promote their culture, their trade, and so on. The most recent one, of course, was held in Dubai. Expo 2020, which was held in 2022. As you know, it was very well advertised. I wanted to go, but I couldn't. This is one of the remnants, and it is the Atomium. We now make our way to the city of Ghent, an hour and a half north of Brussels. Ghent grew rapidly in the 12th century, and by the 13th century, it was one of the largest towns in northern Europe. Its astonishing prosperity was based on the manufacture of cloth. Ghent's luxury cloths were made from English wool and were famous throughout Europe until the 15th century. This wealth put Ghent at conflict with the surrounding regions and was especially seen in the Hundreds-Year War, where it sided with Edward III of England. The belfry here in Ghent is the biggest that exists in Belgium, standing at 91 meters tall, and it's also a UNESCO World Heritage Site, and it offers amazing views across the city of Ghent. Of course, there are belfries all over Belgium. Just for clarification as well, belfry is just a bell tower, and this was first constructed, or started construction, in the year 1313. Please, I hope that's correct. But in this weather, it is just amazing, and we're trying to get the cameras in. The St. Michael's Bridge offers great views over the river and onto the riverbanks, all the lovely buildings, the architecture. It really is beautiful, and I've actually gotten quite lucky because I've come on a very unseasonably warm weather. It's 21 degrees in mid-May with sunny skies. That was completely unexpected. Now, back to the point. The St. Michael's Bridge is named after St. Michael, the Archangel Michael, and on this lamppost there is a figure of St. Michael on a dragon, a statue of St. Michael on a dragon, and that's in reference to a biblical story in which St. Michael had to drive away a dragon from heaven because the dragon was inhibited or possessed by evil spirits, or as we would say in Islam, jinns. I've not read into Christianity so much, I don't really know what their take is on jinns or those kind of things, but there's this idea here at least of being possessed by evil spirits. Now we're here at the Gravenstein Castle. Now the Gravenstein Castle was built in 1180, very, very old medieval castle, originally built in limestone, and over the years it served as a residence for the Counts of Flanders, as well as the other sort of families over the time, and also served other purposes. It was at one point a prison, and in fact over there's still a torture chamber of all the tools and everything they used to use to torture prisoners. It was also used as a court at one point, and during the Industrial Revolution somehow it was even converted into cotton production to produce cotton, which is just crazy to think about, and then eventually going to disrepair. I love how as soon as I spoke about disrepair, my gimbal destabilized and collapsed completely. In any case, if you're coming to Belgium, please visit the city of Ghent. It is so beautiful and stunning and perfect for a day out. Anyways, time to say goodbye to Ghent and on to Bruges. I welcome you all to the city of Bruges, which is absolutely stunning and beautiful to the point where the entire inner city centre has been labelled a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Now, I'm always hesitant to use labels like Venice of the, Paris of the, Switzerland of the, East, West, North. I'm not really a fan of that because every place has its own beauty, but they do call Bruges the Venice of the North, and you can tell if it's Venice, that means there's canals. And there are a lot of canals here, which hopefully we're going to have a boat journey as well. Bruges as a city was once incredibly significant because it used to have direct access to the sea, and therefore was a melting pot for trade, and as such it grew exponentially wealthy. In fact, it is said that probably one of the first stock exchanges in the world was set up in Bruges in the 1300s. And as a city, it is a hub for the Flanders region, because obviously with Belgium primarily you have two languages spoken, French and Dutch. French is mainly spoken in the southern half of the country, Dutch is mainly spoken in the northern half of the country, with the only exception maybe that the eastern border region with Germany may speak German, right? So it's a weird change because it's not even that far. I was in Brussels, right? I landed in Brussels, and Brussels is only, an hour and a half from here, and they speak French there, whereas here everyone talks Dutch. It's it's hard to imagine. This is how dense and diverse Belgium is. One thing that caught my eye was the Holy Blood Basilica, and I thought, okay, Holy Blood, it's to do with maybe salvation and, Jesus dying on the cross, but actually it is claimed that there is a relic here at the basilica which actually contains a vial of the blood, or a cloth of the blood from the crucifixion itself. It is said that it was collected when, well, according to Christian legend, that Jesus' body was being washed, and a sample of that blood was taken, and it's said in the legend that it was brought to Belgium during the time of the Second Crusade. And that is one. So there's actually two sort of theories. One is it's that, and second theory is that it is a sample from the wine that was consumed by Jesus Christ during the Last Supper. So these are the two theories. Regardless, it's quite surprising, because that's quite a big relic to have here in Bruges, of all places. Not saying it can't be here, but it just goes to show, especially in Roman Catholicism, the importance that is paid to relics. And I think that's something that I've referred to a lot in my previous vlogs, where I've been to cathedrals or basilicas. If you remember, of course, the Monasterio Montserrat near Barcelona, where you had the Virgin Madonna, the Black Madonna statue. So it holds a lot of significance in Christianity. I think I see a lot of similarities between that and many of our own cultural practices in our own religions, where we attach a lot of significance to material objects which have a spiritual connection to them. Wow, well then, that's the end of the holiday. If you only have 48 hours and you don't want to take a day off from work, consider Belgium. The only thing I would say is try not to squeeze 3 cities into one weekend. Maybe stick to Brussels and one other city. That's it for me.